ourselves into the Western side. We are in Africa. Let us do what Africans can do best. Let us use what is available for us, and that is how we are going to fight this COVID. So I just want to say that I know it's a very difficult situation, especially for education, for schools, but I think if we think straight on it, if we ask ourselves, nursery, and I mean, you have very many years, you will still come back and do it. If some of us, we normally go back to school even at our age, for me, education is not key. I think it's how we are going to take care of our kids not to die is very key. So let us also remember that in life, these pandemics were there in the 40s. When you listen to people, when you listen to guys who went through the Holocaust and all that, you listen to them and you learn a lot. It's the same way we have to learn how to live with the virus, the flu, whatever it is called. Let us learn to live with it and help each other. One of the things that also, if we are not careful about COVID, it makes people distance from each other. So how do we ensure, while we are social distancing, we don't forget about the African tradition where we normally help our external families to continue also surviving? It's very critical.
Thank you very much. I am honestly really enjoying the discussion and all the insights that our panelists have today. Again, I want to welcome you and thank you for being part of this discussion. I can see so many questions that are coming in from Zoom, others from Twitter, and others from Facebook also. So I will finalize with the questions that we had for them here and then get over to the questions from South Sudan. I see some from Rwanda, and there's also one from Burundi. So over to you, Deputy Governor. And I want you to talk about the SMEs, and they're facing very interesting and crucial challenges right now. And some of them are even at risk of closing shop. So what are some of the measures that can be put in place to ensure that our SMEs remain operational during this time and also going forward after the pandemic?
Thank you so much. We appreciate the efforts of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, being mindful of the SMEs and businesses at large, how thank you. They would continue operating post COVID-19, and I still believe that there is a lot that we can put in SMEs to be able to be operational. I know the money allocated were never enough, and the SMEs are the ones that holds the economy, and a lot of people and young people do depend on these SMEs, small businesses, to be able to take care of their families. We need to concentrate and put our efforts on SMEs, allocate quite some amount of money to be able to give to the SMEs, those who are operating it. And this is not only to the national government. We have county governments, especially in Kenya. I don't know other African countries, but county governments in Kenya can also think along that line, and I would promise that in my county, Kajiado, we will think around that line to ensure that we support the small businesses to be able to pick up and continue running. We also have people with disability. This is a group of people that are quite vulnerable. We need to think about them. I know every county has got a fund for such people. We need to allocate some amount of money And we appreciate that we also have the speaker here who county assemblies are really important in terms of allocation of funds to the various departments in counties. And we better think about these kind of people. I know they are really affected at such a time. There is a possibility that a good number of them are starving at the moment, and we want to thank the efforts by the national government and various county governments in donating food for the vulnerable groups. And I want to state that Kajiado County is at the moment issuing food for the vulnerable groups, and the people with disability is one group that we are targeting. And as we target about giving them food, let's also think about them being able to stand by their own, and they could only stand by their own if we give some economic stimulus and allocating money to be able to help them pick their lives and operate businesses. So this is something that we also advocate and advise for the rest of the East African countries and African countries. We need to put a lot of efforts on SMEs. That is the backbone. That is where a lot of weight is, and we need to give a lot of efforts towards enabling them to continue with their operations again.
Thank you very much. And also thank you for touching on the question on persons with disability, because I actually wanted to take it there as it's one of the questions that has been asked. So probably, Honorable Elachi, you can also touch on the issue of persons with living with disabilities and what are some of the measures that are being taken as Nairobi County, and also what you would advise to be done in other regions. And also, as you answer that, I see there's a question here from Janet Njeri. And she asks, what is your message to those who finished high school and are now not certain what awaits them? And as you answer that, you could also finish with a question from, this is the one from Burundi. What advice would you give teenagers and girls now that they are not engaged on matters relationships and early pregnancy, etc.?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me first start with Burundi early pregnancy, and I know it is also an issue just also in Kenya, very high early pregnancy that is going on, and I know now, especially in this COVID, where young people, especially in the rural areas where we have our youths with borders, and you'll find many of them having challenges, maybe because there's hunger at home, and they'll go look for this young, engage into young sex. For me, I think the most important advice I would say is, I know it's very challenging. It's very challenging, especially when we talk about early pregnancy. And I know, especially when we find ourselves, you go into an area and you just look at young girls who are wearing uniform, and they also give birth. And it's like a child giving birth to a child. It has become a challenge, not just to parents, but I think also to governments. One of the things we need to do to ourselves, we have to go back again to a program of awareness, especially understanding yourself. Are you ready for marriage? Are you ready for a baby? I think one of the things we need to do, and it depends on how your peers are. You know, I always say, if you walk with a group of people who will tell you, you know, have you ever tried this? Have you tried? You need to try. Then you're in a group where very soon early pregnancy will be with you. And therefore, sometimes our peers push us in terms of pressure that, have you ever smoked? You've not. Have you ever taken this? Have you ever tested alcohol? So we are pushed into a peer because of the groups that we also nurture ourselves with. And therefore, my advice will be, let us try to also work with those who believe in themselves that this is not the right time for me to have sex. This is not the right time for me to leave my education. And I need to plead with the young girls today. It does not matter. You will come to have sex. You'll have all the things you want in life will come. One of the things I always say is that the decision you make today is a decision that will either build you tomorrow or will have finalized your life, and you will have a life that is very miserable based on the decisions we make. And therefore, I know for us, now with COVID, we can't do the programs we've been doing, especially some of us have been doing very good programs with mentoring our girls in schools and putting them in different university names. So if you believe you'll be one day at Nairobi University, for example, we take you through to understand, to be in Nairobi University, this is the values, and you get to know that. And you find others, some will tell you, I would wish to be at Daystar, and therefore you give them their values of Daystar. And so you mentor them knowing this is the university you believe in, USIU, wherever. But what I want to tell them is that in today's life, it's not life of yesterday. Today's life is a very difficult life, where today you believe in partners, where today you believe your partner must have gotten the education, and it's not the girl deciding. These are now how the young men decide nowadays. And therefore, for me, young girls, don't engage in something that will bring you down. And if you are down, that's not the end of you also, because I always believe you can give back, get back on your feet, and get back to your dream. What was your dream is very important. And so don't lose hope also. And that is why in Kenya we decided we can go back to school even when we have delivered. And I need all African countries to believe in that. Because there's no way you will leave a girl because she has gotten a baby. She did not get a baby alone. There was a partner who played a very big role. That partner continues with life, and you continue now struggling. I want to tell you, always look at your peers. Try your best to have a group that believes in tomorrow, that believes my dream must come to pass. And that dream, that vision that you have, is a vision to have a better life than what your parents had. So for me, that I will talk about that. And I know early pregnancy is our social life. I know parents get very angry, and then you go through depression, and we also pray that that depression does not take you now to the other side, that you might think of killing yourself, doing abortion, and all that. It is a life that sometimes it has its consequences, and the consequences is that you have to take care of that baby. And so that is one thing we have to learn as we go. But we need a lot of, I know we need a lot of mentors of us, we need a lot of people to support us, and we need a lot of young women who have been able to achieve their goals to come out and now talk to these groups that are there. In terms of us moving forward and ensuring disabilities, people living with special needs are the ones who have suffered most in COVID. And I am imagining schools of special needs. I don't know how the ministers are going to take care to ensure that when they are going back to class, they have the support that they need. Today, I think they're the ones who are wondering, you look at them, I believe in terms of just the normal circumstances of you have a wheelchair, and therefore you need sanitizers 24/7 because you're moving with this. When you look at how we package COVID, You are told, I don't know, on a metal is I don't know how many hours, I don't know what. So you can imagine, wherever you are so scared when you're a person with disability, because you don't even know that, am I okay? I can be okay, but the crutches I'm using, my wheelchair, is it safe for me? Is one thing we need now to start even questioning government to ask, how are we taking care of people with disability in terms of just their environment, the different facilities that they are using, their wheelchairs, those who are SMEs, how are we going to take care of in terms of them ensuring wherever they are safe? Because, and have we tested them? Have we been able to even follow up with them, do testing, know how they are, is something that we need to do. The policies, I know at this time, I'll be lying that there are policies to take care of such things. What we need to do, I think, is Parliament and the different assemblies that we have, we must come up with the policies that are going to take care of people with special needs, persons with physical real disabilities, the blind. The blind are even more vulnerable because we say, oh, where you touch, the lifts and everything. It's just too vulnerable for them. And therefore, we need to ask ourselves as governments, how are we going to bring in policies to safeguard persons with disability? And they have different disabilities. And therefore, we cannot just put them into one basket and say that we have those who are physical, we have those who are blind, deaf, we have those who are more mental, and we need to take care of those children. So I think going forward, COVID is going to take us to a very different journey. And it's a very expensive journey. You find that in Europe, people have hospices, that they have the different homes that they take care of most of this. For us, we live with ours. It's better because we can take care of them. But I think we have those who don't have the capacity, they don't have the economic empowerment to do. How are we going to ensure the different leaders, and especially the chiefs, are able to identify these different homes and tell us, here we have people living with disability, and therefore these are their needs, and be able to map their areas and be able now to give that data to government. Or we go back to our different data that we have done with census, we've done with Huduma, and I know we are able to pick up and know how many families are in a region who are with kids or who are with parents with disability. Yes, it's something we really need to work around. It's something I believe all African countries have not thought about. When I looked at the economic stimulus package of my president, I didn't see anything on that, and therefore I will plead. I didn't see women. I am wondering, in Africa, are we going to build this economy again without the women? And therefore, I am pleading that I want to see an economic team that has women, because women will also raise out some of these issues that sometimes is difficult for men to remember. I know men will remember the industries, the big companies. For us women, we will remember we want water, we want people with disability to have what they have. We want to see Kazi Mtaani, where I would want to know how many young people, girls and boys, are being put into that program. What type of a program is this? Is there a way women can engage in that program? That is one I want to see, especially in the informal sector. I know if we engage more women, we will safeguard, we will reduce the numbers of those who can be sick.
Thank you so much. And now we are coming towards the end. And so I'll ask the final question to our Deputy Governor, which is a combination of a question asked by Zach Minor on Zoom and Lee again. So the question is, how do we ensure that all students can access e-learning? In addition to that, he wants to understand where class 8s and Form 4 students are going while others are still being asked to repeat. So once we have the answer to that, we can have a final parting shot and then call it a day.
Thank you so much. I think the first question about e-learning, I discussed about this issue before, that we cannot assure all our students that they can access these online studies. Remember, students are sent home, and home to some is not urban areas. To some, very remote areas, that having electricity is a problem, power, connectivity, network connectivity is a problem, gadgets to use is a problem, and therefore I will not guarantee that online studies is sufficient for all our students. And that's why I was proposing that the ministries in our respective countries need to think of a post-COVID-19 strategy to ensure that we have brought all the students at par and they could move together without those who are disadvantaged feeling that they are more disadvantaged when they go back to school. I think we all have a responsibility as leaders in the various countries, even as a student leaders, to advise the best way we could do to ensure that we have brought all students at one level. Finally, the other question, part of the other question, I don't really remember.
Let me get it for us again. Yes, so he wants to understand where class 8s and Form 4 students are going while others are being asked to repeat.
I don't really think we have gone to a point of others repeating. I think we're still waiting for the various ministries of education and governments to advise us on the best way forward. So let me not comment, because I know governments will advise us on the best way forward, whether we are going to have a plan to do summaries and we catch up and continue, or we are going to repeat. I think our government has got good plans to ensure that all will not be disadvantaged. Good.
Thank you so much. So probably as you give us your parting shot, Honorable Elachi, who keeps you accountable? We know that we are told that leaders should not walk alone. They do not walk alone. So please let us know, is there someone in particular, people in particular who keep you accountable?
Well, yes. I mean, in terms of accountable, I think I'm accountable to many people. And everyone looks up to me, especially when I look at Nairobi. And I'm accountable to them to ensure that what we do in the assembly is what will change lives, not what will come out and affect others, or even find other people crying for their rights. I mean, it's important for us, especially political leaders. We have a role to play in ensuring that whatever we do is for future, not just for us. I think my parting shot will be, I think in our country today, one of the things we need to look at ourselves is we have become very greedy, all of us. We don't think of tomorrow. We believe we must have everything. There's a purpose why God felt that what you have what is enough is what you use at that time. And therefore, this thing of having a lust of having too much on ourselves is killing our country. It has killed the values of our children, that they're starting to believe that is how life is, that they're starting to believe everything is shortcut. They've believed that it is good to have short-term goals than long-term goals. And so I think one of the things we need to pray for our country, and especially for us political leaders, it is time to remember that this is a country. And one of the things I've learned about COVID is that God decided to show us that this is his country, this is his world, that you can do with the little you have. And COVID has taught us that you can be put into a situation where you have so much, but you will leave it. And I hope we are learning from that. That you don't need to have vast and vast of land and others don't have. COVID has taught us that. It has taught us that whatever you have at that time, you can share and use with others. But it has also taught us another lesson. That while and it has not just taught us, but I think it has told us that God is everywhere. And you don't need a miracle. Your miracle is you. You must, when you wake up, is the first miracle you get from God. And therefore you can go at any corner, call upon your God, and your God will open your ways. And that is one thing we need to learn going forward. That yes, we are in church, we are in all these things, but remember, God has shown you that it is your life. Through COVID, we have learned. And going forward, I am hoping that COVID will change our hearts to remember that we just need to share. We just need to share, not just with human beings, but in Europe they were shown that you must share with animals, that you have taken even their space. God has revealed so much. So for us who trust in God, I will end by saying, have faith in yourself, have faith in God, that indeed with this COVID, it will come and pass, and we shall remain standing because God loves us, and it's in God that we are in. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless Africa. And may the Lord bless, I know there are those ones who are saying, we have finished Form 4 and we don't know what next. You are lucky you have finished Form 4. What next? If you passed, you're headed to campus, and when the right time comes, you will join campus.
Thank you. That is very lovely. Asante sana. Over to you, Deputy Governor. Probably you can tell us what kind of leader you want to be remembered as and your message of hope.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me start by saying that there are a number of lessons that I have learned through this period. One of them, I think through this pandemic, we have realized the importance of food security. We went to a point that the only thing we could care is food to eat and remain alive. I think it is the high time that African countries, especially young people like ourselves watching from the respective countries we are watching from, that we go back to the village and really encourage tilling land and produce food for our families and produce food for our countries. So that if borders could shut, if aeroplanes could not fly and bring us food to eat, we will be able to have foods in our stores and life moves on. One of the other lessons is caring for one another. I think as putting on masks is to care about yourself and to care about your friend, to care about the rest of the community. This pandemic has taught us that we can never have a better life alone. Your life is as better as your friends, and to be able to be safe, you take care of yourself and ensure that your friend, your neighbor is safe. And that is how we can end up having a safer community, a safer country, a safer continent. And I continue to urge the essence of us putting masks is for you to protect yourself and your neighbor protects you, and we end up protecting our country. Another lesson, we need to use this opportunity for creativity, especially for the young leaders and those who are leading academicians. Let's use this opportunity to come up with innovations that will take this continent to another level. Right now, we are doing a conference that is watched across the continent. And perhaps this might be a new norm. This is creativity sitting behind cameras, and we could comfortably do meetings very far from each other. Finally, I want to say that in the midst of this pandemic, there is hope. We will emerge victorious. We will overcome. But we have a responsibility. Those who will win over this are people who are responsible, people who are obedient to the simple instructions our various governments has issued. As simple as washing hands, as simple as social distancing, as simple as putting on a mask. Those who will abide and adhere to this will emerge victorious. And we will want, especially student leaders, to be part and parcel of those who are going to win and also help others win. From the very village that you come from, there is something that you can do. You can lead a campaign to distribute masks around. You can lead a campaign to tell our local mamas the importance of washing hands. You can be part of the campaign that educates those who do not know the importance of social distancing to do so, to achieve this victory that we yearn for. There is hope for the young people. Myself, being elected as the youngest deputy governor in Kenya, I never had any other experience, because after my leadership in the university, the same university absorbed me for 2 years to work with them. And from then, I joined politics. And what I have been discussing with AYLF about better leadership in our continent, leaders who bring a change, is what I'm practicing right now, and Kenyans has given me an opportunity to practice it. I want to tell you, you have a chance. In the respective countries you come from, will give you a chance, I believe so. But victory is won first when you conquer yourself. When you tell yourself, yes, I can be one of the governors, I can be one of the speakers, I can be one of the MPs, member of parliament and senator. You tell yourself so, you go outside there, they will believe in you. they will elect you. But remember, do not forget the virtues and the principles AYLF and other mentors have been asking you to practice. And whenever you get an opportunity to lead, know that God has given you grace. And take that position with humility and give your all to the service of your constituents, your country, and Africa will be a better continent. God bless you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Governor and Honorable Elachi, Speaker, Nairobi County. Thank you for taking the time to join us and for your remarks and sentiments. And we have learned so much, and I'm sure the people who have joined us on Zoom, on YouTube, on Facebook Live have also taken a lot. Some of the things that have stood out for me is the importance of mentorship, number one, the importance of value-based leadership, and number three, that you should, as young leaders, we should look around at the opportunities that the COVID-19 situation is availing us. Our Honorable Deputy Governor has mentioned, like right now, we are able to join 7 countries online. So these are the very networks that you can pick up. Think of an idea that you can push together as 7 countries. You know, if you're in Tanzania and you want to supply masks or something else in Kenya, you know who to link up with. So let us also take advantage of the opportunities that the situation has given us. Again, also, AYLF is giving us an amazing platform. Our Honorable Deputy Governor here, our Honorable Beatrice Elachi, they're available to us for mentorship, and they're willing to reach out to you and hold your hand if you're interested in national leadership and also leadership at the university level and in your communities. And also let me also read out something that one of our participants has said. He says, "Hi, I am Shadrach Manzongo from Kinshasa, and it's a pleasure for me to participate in this meeting. Thank you for your kind words and motivation, which show hope to help us stand on our feet during this very tough moment. We are really desperate." So I thank you so much for being able to share that message of hope. And once again, I want to convey the apologies of our Honorable Senator, West Pokot County, Honorable Samuel Pogisio. He was to be here, but unfortunately he was not able to make it, but he assures us that next time he will be able to join us. And finally, I want to thank the Africa Youth Leadership Forum. This has been a very amazing platform. We have learned so much. It is not every day that we have a deputy governor seated here, a speaker of Nairobi County seated here to share with you a message of hope, to encourage us and to motivate us. So thank you very much, AYLF, as you continue to nurture a new breed of leaders. So once again, thank you so much to everyone for joining us. We will share the clip. Those of you who are not able to join us on time, we will share the links to the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. So asanteni sana, kwaherini, God bless you all, God bless Africa. Asante.
Thank you very much.